Shelley Fabares reveals the truth about Annette Funicello at the age of 81. On January 19, 1944, Shelley Fabares was born Michelle Annette Fabares in Santa Monica, California. From a young age, Shelley Fabares was surrounded by the entertainment industry. She benefited from a vital family bond as she was raised by her mother following the divorce of her parents. Her aunt was the well-known Broadway, movie, and television actress Annette Funicello. Shelley was exposed to professional performing at a young age due to her closeness to the entertainment industry. But this did not ensure success, only opportunity. As a young girl, Fabares started modeling and making appearances in advertisements, developing composure and discipline much before the majority of her peers. She was particularly suited to television, which in the late 1950s was quickly taking over as America's primary entertainment medium because of her innate warmth, expressive eyes, and subtle emotional intelligence. In 1958, Shelley Fabares casting as Donna Reed's character's daughter, Mary Stone, on The Donna Reed Show was a turning point in her career. Fabares matured in front of the camera over the course of 6 seasons, evolving from a bright but rather naive teenager to a reflective young lady negotiating the emotional challenges of adolescence and early adulthood. Fabares' emotional authenticity set her apart from many other young TV actors of the time. Because of her realistic, relevant, and grounded performances, viewers were able to identify with her problems and victories. She was more than just the daughter of America. She changed with the country, reflecting the culture of young people in the post-war era. Shelley Fabares had an unexpected and noteworthy second career as a pop singer, while she was still the star of The Donna Reed Show. She recorded Johnny Angel in 1962, a gentle ballad of longing that encapsulated the emotional fragility of youthful crushes. Her reputation as a legitimate teen idol was solidified when the song became a huge smash, reaching #1 on the Billboard Hot 100. Fabares' music struck a chord because it was genuine, in contrast to many novelty records by television celebrities. Her voice, which was tender and emotionally open rather than ostentatious, was ideal for the romantic sensibilities of the time. She went on to release further hit songs including Johnny Loves Me and Johnny Get Angry, showcasing her vocal range and developing self-assurance. Even though she finally gave up music, her brief recording career is nevertheless a significant part of pop history from the early 1960s and is representative of the crossover appeal that characterized the time. Like many previous child and teen stars, Shelley Fabares had to redefine her image as the 1960s went on. She handled this challenge with tact and wisdom, progressively assuming roles that were more emotionally complicated and mature. Her partnership with Elvis Presley was one of the most important turning moments in her career. Fabares co-starred with Presley in 3 movies: Clambake, 1967, Spin Out, 1966, and Girl Happy, 1965. Among Presley's several leading women, Fabares was notable for her acting prowess and grounded demeanor, lending warmth, comedy, and genuineness to parts that may have otherwise been merely surface level. Her popularity grew as a result of these movies, which also showed that she could compete with one of the biggest stars in the world. Later in her career, Shelley Fabares rebuilt herself as a dramatic actress on television, which was perhaps the most critically lauded period of her career. She made a dramatic departure from her inventive past with her recurrent character as Christine Armstrong Fox, the wife of investigator Dan August Burt Reynolds. Her 2 Emmy Award nominations for the performance spoke to her depth and sincerity as a performer. When Shelley Fabares was cast as Christine Armstrong Fox on the ABC sitcom Coach in 1989, she took on a role that would later define her career. At a period when nuanced, career-driven female characters were still hard to come by on television, Fabares saw the possibility right away. She subsequently noted, "Here was an intelligent, funny, well-written series, and those who put it on wanted me to portray a prosperous, aspirational woman." The part seemed both contemporary and incredibly fulfilling to Fabares, who had spent decades transforming from an adored child star to a recognized adult actress. Christine Fox was intelligent, self-assured, emotionally stable, and successful in her career. A woman who was much more than the main character's amorous accessory. Rather, she contributed humor, warmth, and subdued power to the performance as an equal partner. Even though Coach didn't take off right away, its fortunes took a sharp turn when ABC decided to run it after the wildly successful Roseanne. After making that tactical change, the show found its following and swiftly developed into one of the network's most dependable hits. In addition to the comedy with a sports theme, audiences continued to tune in week after week because of the grounded connection between Fabares and Craig T. Nelson. Because of the show's popularity, it ran for 8 seasons until 1997, establishing Fabares as a television mainstay who could gracefully and reliably host a long-running series. Not long after, there was critical recognition. As evidence of her ability to add complexity and emotional intelligence to a sitcom genre, Fabares received 2 nominations for Primetime Emmy Awards for her work on Coach. She was given the Young Artist Foundation's Former Child Star Lifetime Achievement Award in 1994, which was a particularly significant accolade. The honor recognized a career that had effectively crossed television generations and decades, honoring not only her portrayal of Christine Fox, but also her lasting legacy as Mary Stone on The Donna Reed Show. Fabares kept adding television films and special appearances to her portfolio despite her commitment to coaching. She had appearances in films like Love or Money, 1990, Deadly Relations, 1993, The Great Mom Swap, 1995, and A Nightmare Come True, 1997, during the length of the show, showcasing her versatility in parts that frequently ventured into more dramatic or darker realms than her weekly comedic performances. Her versatility and willingness to continue pushing herself outside of the comfort zone of a popular series were reaffirmed by these performances. After training ended in 1997, Fab moved smoothly into voice acting as Martha Kent in the animated series Superman. Longtime fans and a new generation of viewers alike praised her for giving the character emotional depth with her comforting, sympathetic voice. Her place in the Superman heritage would be further cemented when she reprised the role in Justice League, and again in the 2006 direct-to-video film Superman Brainiac Attacks. While gradually refocusing her attention on behind-the-scenes leadership, Fabares has also continued to appear in television movies, such as the 1998 film Playing to Win: A Moment of Truth. She held the esteemed position of producer for the Screen Actors Guild Awards from 2004 to 2011, which demonstrated her great regard in the business. She demonstrated that her influence went well beyond the screen by serving in this role, helping to honor fellow actors, and create one of Hollywood's most significant acting festivals. Shelley Fabares eventually gave up performing in her senior years in order to focus on her family and health. Her effect persisted even after she left the public eye. She was an uncommon example of Hollywood success, a lifetime career based on professionalism, emotional intelligence, and quiet strength, rather than scandal or controversy-driven reinvention. Shelley Fabares married record producer Lou Adler, one of the most important people in the music business at the time. In 1964, at the height of her teenage success, and just as her career was beginning to transcend teen idol status, she found herself at the intersection of Hollywood and the rapidly evolving sound of popular music in the 1960s as a result of their combination. The stresses of hard occupations and living in the spotlight gradually took their toll, despite the marriage's initial great potential. In 1966, just 2 years later, the couple called it quits. However, it wasn't until 1980 that their legal links were officially broken, a protracted resolution that demonstrated the complexity of a relationship molded by celebrity, ambition, and personal development. Even though their marriage ended, Fabares came out of the ordeal with more emotional depth, a trait that would later improve her personal and acting lives. Years later, true and lasting love came. Fabares married actor Mike Farrell in 1984. Farrell was well known for his ethics, intelligence, and humanitarian attitude, in addition to his work on television, especially on MASH. For a long time, their marriage has been considered one of Hollywood's hidden success stories. It is resilient, encouraging, and surprisingly scandal-free. They demonstrated that enduring love in the entertainment industry is not only feasible, but also incredibly fulfilling by establishing a partnership based on respect for one another, common ideals, and intense devotion. Fabares' fortitude was put to the ultimate test in October 2000 when she encountered a potentially fatal medical emergency. Identified as having autoimmune hepatitis, a serious and uncommon illness when the body targets its own liver. Her life was ultimately spared by a liver transplant. It was an emotionally and physically taxing experience. Nevertheless, she faced it with the same poise and fortitude that had characterized her multi-decade career. With the help of Farrell and her family, Fabares came out of the ordeal with newfound appreciation and insight, emerging as a potent symbol of bravery and tenacity. Her survival story gave her public persona a very human dimension, turning her from a well-liked actress into an inspiration who is respected for both her talent, her incredible determination to survive. Shelley Fabares, who is 81 years old, speaks with the quiet authority of someone who has lived a full life, experienced intense love, and outlived a time when youthful promise once shone. When she eventually talks about Annette Funicello, it's to celebrate a connection made during the heyday of American television, not to make headlines or resurrect nostalgia for its own purpose. A bond formed by vulnerability, notoriety, and deep regard for one another. Fabares murmurs softly. People always assume they know Annette because they saw her smile. However, they were unaware of her true bravery. Both women grew up in Hollywood during a period when it was expected of young actors to be constantly happy, obedient, and appreciative. America's love from the Mickey Mouse Club, Annette Funicello bore the burden of being a national representation of purity. Shelley Fabares, who rose to stardom as Mary Stone on The Donna Reed Show and as Elvis Presley's love interest in Girl Happy, was well aware of that pressure. In public, we were growing up. According to Fabares, there was no space for humanity. Annette sensed that more than anyone else. Funicello battled behind the scenes with expectations that failed to see her complexity. Fabares remembers that people were unaware of her intelligence, humor, and sharpness. However, Hollywood wanted her to remain in the past, as though becoming older was a sign of treachery. Fabares acknowledges that she was deeply affected by seeing Annette deal with that dilemma. It made me realize how harsh celebrity can be when it prioritizes an image above a person. The brutality of that system became even more evident as Annette's multiple sclerosis-related health started to deteriorate. Fabares claims she bore it so calmly that it crushed her heart. She didn't wish for sympathy. She desired respectability. In an effort to aid others and increase awareness, Funicello decided to make her disease public in 1992. Fabares has a vivid memory of that occasion. That required a great deal of bravery. Despite her fear, she was adamant. Throughout those years, the two women communicated frequently, discussing anxieties that only a person from the same world could really comprehend. "I don't want to be remembered for what I lost, but for what I gave," Annette once said to me. Fab explains, her voice growing softer. That's who she was, thinking of others even when she was hurting. The notion that Funicello's later years were solely characterized by tragedy is rejected by Fabares. Yes, she admits there was sadness, but there was also a lot of love. Her faith, her family, and her fortitude. That's the true tale. She taught me that strength doesn't always roar, she continues after pausing. "I'm still here," it whispers at times. Decades after becoming well-known, Fabares now considers truth, friendship, and survival. She explains, "People ask why I'm speaking now. It's because you gain perspective with time, and Annette deserves truth rather than fiction." Shelley Fabares is 81 and no longer feels constrained by the old Hollywood norms. By speaking the truth about Annette Funicello, she provides more than just a moment of reflection. She teaches us about loyalty, grace, and the silent bravery of persevering with honor.